Well, this is it. The continuation of the Sekai Taikai and the final chapter of Cobra Kai. This is everything we know about Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 3. Let's first break down the trailer scene by scene. The trailer starts off with footage from the original Karate Kid film with Daniel LaRusso narrating, "In the beginning, we were enemies." He continues, "And through the years, we've had our battles," as we see the various fights and arguments LaRusso has had with Johnny over previous seasons. As Daniel says, all of us, we see fights from the LaRusso household, the school, the mall, and the laser tag arena. Johnny Lawrence is heard saying, "But that's only made us stronger." I guess it was inevitable that we'd end up on the same side, as we see the Chop Shop fight, both Miguel and Robbie and Sam and Tori putting their rivalries aside, and of course, Johnny and Daniel working together in Seasons 3 and 4. Daniel resumes by saying, "And no matter the alliances we made," as we see his rivalries turn friendships with Chosen and Mike Barnes, followed by Johnny saying, "And the friends who've had our back," as we see Karate Kid and Cobra Kai footage of Ali and Kumiko, followed by footage of Sam and Tori training at Miyagi-Do and Kenny joining Miyagi-Do from Season 6. Daniel is heard saying, "Our enemies are still out there," as we see Kreese, Kim Da-eun, Sensei Wolf, and Terry Silver, with Johnny then saying, "We need to face those enemies and take them down once and for all," overdubbing footage of Axel punching Robbie and Silver staring at Johnny and Daniel at the Sekai Taikai. We hear Daniel say, "To accomplish this one," Johnny joins him by saying, "We need to go back to where it all began," as we see new footage of a crowd on their way to the All Valley Sports Arena. The Sekai Taikai flag is displayed inside the arena itself. Tori is standing on the mat with the stage behind her, possibly from Season 6 Part 2. Sam and Robbie are looking towards the mat off to the sidelines, and we see a shot of the '84 All Valley Tournament Finals cut to the present day, where the red mats have returned. A shot of the valley is seen as we finally hear "You're the Best" remixed for the trailer. Amanda is shown talking to Daniel at LaRusso Auto, saying, "I know things got out of hand in Barcelona," as we cut back to the end of Ungjangdo, with Daniel saying "a kid died," as it then cuts to Kreese and Kim Da-eun at Kwan's funeral back in South Korea. Sam is seen talking to Daniel in the room where they've trained at the LaRusso household, asking, "Is the tournament back on? What am I even fighting for?" as we then cut to Sam staring in anger at Zara. We see Johnny training Robbie as we saw in the sneak peek, followed by Tori stretching and getting ready for her run, while Daniel was heard saying, "I wish I had the answers for you, kiddo, but I don't know," as we cut back to the LaRusso household. Terry Silver is seen observing Sensei Wolf training Axel, who tells the student, "They should fear you, and if they don't, make them," as Axel trains with Terry Silver, notably breaking the bows. Back at the Miyagi-Do dojo, Miguel tells Robbie, "You can beat Axel," as the latter gears up, where we cut to their rematch, but Keen says, "I gave it everything I had last time and it didn't make a difference." Tori gets slammed to the ground by Draga as Zara walks over to her, as we saw in Season 6 Part 2, and we cut to a new scene of them at the tournament where Nichols is heard saying, "No one deserves to get their ass kicked more than that bitch." Terry Silver is seen staring at himself in the mirror, slightly nervous, as we hear Sensei Lawrence say, "It doesn't matter what happened last time," followed by Miguel making his way to the mat, presumably during Robbie's fight with Axel, who is stopped by Chosen. Johnny continues by saying, "It doesn't matter how many people are watching," as we see the crowd cheering with Robbie and Sam focused, staring at the Iron Dragons, and Lawrence finishes by saying, "Let's show these assholes how we do things in the valley," as we see Robbie training with the boys back in Miyagi-Do, and then Keen and Axel approaching the mat. In a hilarious moment, Amanda becomes the crazy karate mom as she sits next to Shannon, as they sit next to Devin, Anthony, Chris, the Reds, and other students from the dojo. Tori and Zara stare at each other. Axel gets into a stance as Robbie approaches. Johnny and Miguel smile at each other as they sit outside the strip mall where the former once had a dojo, and we see an ending montage of Johnny and Daniel practicing the crane kick, Dimitri and Hawk dancing inside the dojo with the DJ setup, Johnny psyching himself up while wearing a tuxedo t-shirt, Daniel to someone of what looks to be the old Cobra Kai dojo, Johnny and Robbie hugging, Sam and Tori training inside the All Valley Arena, Gunther kicking Daryl either before or after he meets with the All Valley board, Johnny and Bobby talking inside church once again, the old Cobra Kai logo on the back of someone's gi, Johnny and Daniel driving in the banana boat, and the two running down the streets of the valley with the crowd in a nod to Rocky II's training montage as we finally see the logo. Let's talk about what's confirmed. First, the continuation of the Sekai Taikai as evidenced in Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2 inside the dojo, the teaser, and the sneak peek. How exactly the tournament plays out is unknown. I'd like to assume it's a continuation of matches that never got to finish or take place For example, Robbie vs. Axel and Sam vs. Tori. I can't see them restarting the whole tournament, but one can only wonder how Cobra Kai factors into this now that they are without a male team captain. That being said, it's 100% confirmed that Robbie will face Axel once again and will have to overcome his doubts about being able to defeat his opponent. Second, there is a funeral being held for Quan. Although Quan's time has come to an end, it's clear that his death will have a major impact on Part 3, especially if Tori is still competing in the Sekai Taikai. Alongside the trailer, there is a photo where Master Kim and Kreese are standing side by side while the former is likely teaching the class. Another key point is that Silver will have his hand in training Axel personally. To what extent is currently unknown, but this will be an interesting dynamic as Terry was previously only the financial backer of the Iron Dragons and had no hands in the training. Third, Tori will still be on a relatively friendly basis with Miyagi-Do. Given how Sam helped her in the Sekai Taikai Brawl, this makes a lot of sense that the two would train together. Perhaps Sam gets eliminated or it's Sam and Zara in the finals and Tori and Sam decide to help train each other. Or they train together despite knowing that they may go up against each other in the finals at some point. Finally, the return of Cobra Kai, or Johnny's Cobra Kai. I don't know how exactly, but this somehow comes to fruition because of a few key details. The first is that Daniel and Johnny were both heard saying Cobra Kai never dies in the Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3 teaser. The second is that both in that teaser and this trailer, there is footage we haven't seen before of someone walking in the classic Cobra Kai gi. And third, Daniel is seen inside the Cobra Kai dojo. The colors on the wall match the dojo's colors of the first 4 seasons, and not to mention, we see what looks like training equipment behind Daniel near the window. Now, it's very likely that the dojo could be renamed something else and Cobra Kai is only used for the namesake, but this is something we'll just have to wait and see. Lastly, let's talk about some speculation. Given the rumors and of course now the trailer, a lot of people seem to think that Robbie will get injured in the match against Axel and Miguel will be his replacement. While this wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, I think it would also be neat if Robbie continues to fight injured as Daniel did in the first Karate Kid film, or as he did against Miguel in Cobra Kai Season 1. That aside, this is one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most in Season 6 Part 3. I'd also like to speculate how Master Kim Sun-young is going to handle Kreese and Kim Da-eun and what happened to Quan. I think we could see another beatdown as we saw in the flashback in Part 1, or at the very least, Master Kim making an example of John in front of the students. I'm also curious to see why Gunther landed a kick on Daryl at the All Valley Arena. Perhaps they get into some kind of argument about why the Sekai Taikai should take place. Finally, I think it's clear that Daniel will still have some kind of trauma from what happened in Barcelona, as indicated in the trailer. If he can find some answers about Mr. Miyagi, perhaps that would explain his fighting the skeletons as we saw on Inside the Dojo. I think he'll have to overcome these demons one last time. Not much else to say since we're finally at the end of the road, just 10 more days until we see the conclusion of the greatest karate saga. And until then, make sure to catch up on my videos in the meantime.